Peppa Pig, the fancy dress party. Peppa and George are having a fancy dress party. All their friends are invited. Peppa is dressed as a fairy princess and George is a dinosaur. All the guests are arriving. Rebecca Rabbit is dressed as a carrot and Susie Sheep has come as a nurse. "Hello, Susie," says Daddy Pig. "Have you just come from the hospital?" "I'm not a real nurse," says Susie Sheep. "It's just pretend." "Hello, Susie," says Peppa. "I'm Princess Peppa. You must bow when you speak to me." Susie Sheep bows. "Woof, woof. I'm a pirate. Shiver me timbers," says Danny Dog. "I'm a clown," says Pedro, tooting his horn. "Rebecca, why are you dressed as a carrot?" Danny asks. "Because I like carrots," says Rebecca. George does his best dinosaur roar and scares everybody. Peppa is playing by herself. She pretends the mirror is magic. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" "You are, Peppa," she giggles. It's time to judge the fancy dress competition. As it's Peppa's party, says Daddy Pig, she can be the judge and decide who has the best costume. The guests show off their outfits. "I'm a pirate, shiver me timbers," says Danny Dog. "I'm a nurse who makes people better," says Susie Sheep. Candy Cat waves her wand at Peppa. "I'm a witch and I can turn you into a frog," she says. "Meow." "Well, I'm a fairy princess and I can turn you into a frog," cries Peppa. It is time to announce the winner. "Everyone's costume is very good," says Peppa, "but the winner is me." "Peppa, you can't pick yourself. You're the judge," whispers Mummy Pig. "Oh, can't I?" asks Peppa. "You have to pick another winner," Mummy Pig says quietly. "Okay, the carrot wins," says Peppa. "Hooray! Hooray! Rebecca Rabbit has won the fancy dress competition." "Thank you," Rebecca says. Peppa loves fancy dress parties. Everyone loves fancy dress parties. The end. Peppa's best birthday party. It was Mandy Mouse's birthday, and she was having her party at Cheese World.
Wow!
"What is Cheese World, Mandy?" asked Peppa.
"It's the most fun place ever,"
replied Mandy.
"There's a cheese river and a cheese mountain, and best of all, there's a cheese castle."
"Wow!" everyone gasped. When they arrived for the party, Mummy Mouse took Mandy and her friends to a huge cheese-shaped arch. "Welcome to Cheese World," announced Miss Rabbit. "Have any of you been here before?"
"I have,"
cried Mandy.
"It's amazing."
Wow!
"Oh, hello, Mandy," said Miss Rabbit. "Nice to see you again." Everyone followed Miss Rabbit past some cheese trees and cheese bushes. "So," said Miss Rabbit, "everything at Cheese World is about cheese," cheered Mandy. "That's right," said Miss Rabbit. "And we'll start by sailing on the river of cheese." Mandy cheered again. When they got to the cheese river, 2 little cheese boats were waiting.
All aboard,
called Mandy. And hold tight, added Miss Rabbit, as the boats bobbed along.
Miss Rabbit,
said Peppa.
are these boats made of real cheese?
No, Peppa, replied Miss Rabbit. They are made from pretend cheese. Oh, said Peppa.
We are now entering Cheese Mountain,
said Miss Rabbit as they sailed inside a cave.
Is it made of real cheese?
asked Peppa.
No,
replied Miss Rabbit.
but this is what it would be like to sail through a cheese mountain.
Wow!
Ooh! cried Mandy and her friends.
If cheese mountains existed,
finished Miss Rabbit. After the boat ride, Mr. Rabbit showed the group his cheese aeroplane ride. Mandy explained what to do.
If you pull the lever, the plane goes up,
she said.
And if you push the lever, the plane goes down.
Once the children were safely in their airplanes, Mr. Rabbit started the ride. Up, up and away, he cried.
This is brilliant,
said Molly Mole.
Look, there's a sun made of cheese,
Mandy called.
And the clouds are cottage cheese,
gasped Susie.
I can see the whole world,
said Peppa.
It's all cheese.
Was that fun? asked Mummy Mouse once the children finished flying.
Yes!
Everyone cheered happily.
I told you Cheese World is the most fun place ever,
cried Mandy. Next, it was time to visit the Castle of Cheese. Hello, Mandy, said Grampy Rabbit when they arrived at the entrance. Have you told your friends about my Castle of Cheese?
I told them it was the best bit,
said Mandy. It is, said Grampy Rabbit. It's where we get to smell real cheese. No pretend cheese here. Once they were inside, Grampy Rabbit said, Let's start by smelling a mild cheese. Molly and Pedro Pony both took a good sniff. Said Molly.
This smells nice. I like it too,
said Pedro. Grampy Rabbit sniffed the cheese, but he didn't think it had any smell at all. Now for something a little bit stronger, said Grampy Rabbit, taking the cover off a second piece of cheese. He took a big sniff. That's more like it, he said. A stinky one. Pedro sniffed the cheese. He cried.
It smells like my daddy's socks.
And now, said Grampy Rabbit, it's time for the strongest cheese in the whole world. Grampy Rabbit carefully lifted the cover off the third cheese and took a huge sniff. Now that's what I call cheese, he said. Next it was Mandy's turn to smell the super strong cheese.
It's the nicest smell I've ever smelled,
she said.
You love smelling cheese, don't you, Mandy?
Said Mummy Mouse.
Yes,
cried Mandy.
But I love eating it even more.
Funny you should say that, said Mummy Mouse. Mummy Mouse brought out a cake covered in candles.
Wow!
It's birthday cake time, she said.
Cheesecake,
gasped Mandy.
my favourite.
Hooray! Everyone cheered.
This is the best birthday ever,
cried Mandy.
And this is the best birthday party ever,
said Peppa.
Happy birthday, Mandy.
The end. Peppa's Pizza Party. It is lunchtime at Peppa's house.
Can we make pizzas?
Peppa asks. George loves pizza. So do Mummy and Daddy Pig. Peppa is excited to start. But first, everyone must wash their hands. They use soap and water to get all clean. When they are done washing, they gather ingredients. To make our pizzas, says Daddy Pig, we need flour, tomato, chimes in Mummy Pig, cheese, continues Daddy Pig, and toppings. But wait, there's something missing.
George likes pineapple on his pizza,
Peppa says. Pineapple? Daddy Pig repeats. On pizza? I think that's against the law. Peppa laughs. Daddy Pig is being silly. It is not against the law to put pineapple on pizza. Mummy Pig sprinkles a little flour on the table so that the dough doesn't stick. Then, with their clean hands, Peppa and George knead the dough. Bam, bam, bam!
I am big and strong,
Peppa says.
And George is big and strong too.
Next, they make the dough into 4 balls. These will become 4 pizza pies. Mummy Pig rolls the dough balls flat with her rolling pin.
Oh,
says Peppa.
they look like pizzas now.
Mummy and Daddy Pig make a sauce with the tomatoes. Then Peppa and George smooth it over the dough.
I like making pizza,
Peppa says.
It's so fun.
Now it is time to decorate the pizzas.
Can we make happy faces on top?
Peppa asks. Of course we can, replies Daddy Pig. I'll use mushrooms to make eyes and olives for the smile. And I'll use onions for the eyes and basil for the smile, says Mummy Pig. Peppa uses sweet corn for the smile and little tomatoes for the eyes. George has pineapple for the eyes and cheese for the smile. Mummy Pig puts on her oven mitts. Then she places the pizzas in the oven to bake. When the pizzas are done, Peppa, George, Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig eat in the garden. Their pizzas are very good.
These are the best pizzas in the world,
says Peppa. Peppa loves pizza. Everyone loves pizza. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's Pumpkin Party. It is a lovely autumn day, and Peppa and George are getting ready for their Halloween party. First, they scoop out a pumpkin to make a lantern. Then Mummy Pig fixes a candle inside and lights it.
Ooh, lovely,
sighs Peppa. Mummy and Daddy Pig help Peppa and George put on their costumes. Peppa is a witch and George is a dinosaur. Peppa cackles. Very witchy, says Mummy Pig.
Dinosaur! Arr!
Growls George. Peppa and George's friends have arrived. Everyone is wearing a spooky Halloween costume. Suddenly, they hear a howl. Oh!
What was that?
asked Peppa.
Only me,
laughs Danny Dog.
I'm a werewolf.
Peppa notices that Emily Elephant has a green face. "What are you, Emily?" she asks.
I'm an alien. Blub, blub, blub.
She replies, laughing.
And Edmund is a ghost. Actually, I'm a paranormal apparition,
corrects Edmund.
That's a clever clog's ghost.
Daddy Pig appears at the door. "Welcome to the party, everyone," he booms. "Come and have some pumpkin pie." Inside, the house is decorated with balloons, cobwebs, and hanging toy bats. Even Madame Gazelle has come to the Halloween party. "Hello," says Susie Sheep.
I've come as a vampire.
"A vampire," sighs Madame Gazelle. "That reminds me of home." How strange. Madame Gazelle doesn't seem to have a reflection in the mirror. Daddy Pig puts on some music for everyone to dance to. "I love pumpkin parties," Peppa shouts.
I love dressing up,
says Susie Sheep. "And everyone loves pumpkin pie," says Daddy Pig. The Peppa's Christmas Unicorn. It was the beginning of December, and Peppa and her family were decorating their Christmas tree.
Wow!
Peppa pulled a decoration from the Christmas box.
It's the prickly cactus we got when Daddy went monster trucking in America,
she cried. "And there's the flamingo from our summer holiday," said Daddy Pig. "What lovely memories," said Mummy Pig, smiling. "What a perfect tree," said Daddy Pig, hanging his last bauble. There's still one bare branch."
but there aren't any decorations left.
Peppa sighed. "Never mind," said Mummy Pig. "The tree looks wonderful just as it is." "Okay," said Peppa, but she couldn't help staring at the empty branch. A few weeks later, it was Christmas Eve. "Come on," called Daddy Pig. "It's time to go to the Christmas fair."
Hooray!
cried Peppa and George. The Christmas fair was lots of fun. There were stalls full of yummy food, games to play, gingerbread houses to decorate, and
A Christmas carousel!
cried Peppa. "Who wants a ride?" asked Mummy Pig.
I do,
cheered Peppa and George, jumping up and down. "Daddy Pig," said Mummy Pig, "would you like to ride the carousel?" Daddy Pig looked at the Christmas carousel. "What does it do?" he asked Miss Rabbit, who was in charge of the ride.
It spins around and around up in the air,
she explained. "Ah," said Daddy Pig. He was a little bit scared of heights.
Come on, it'll be so much fun,
said Peppa. "Okay," said Daddy Pig. "I'll give it a whirl." Peppa and George looked at all the animals they could ride on the carousel.
Wow!
Dinosaur!
"Ah!" shouted George, picking a special Christmas dinosaur. Mummy Pig climbed on the dinosaur with him. Peppa spotted a golden, glittery
Christmas unicorn! she cried. I'm riding this one. Doesn't it look magical?
"It certainly does," agreed Daddy Pig.
Last call for the magical Christmas carousel,
announced Miss Rabbit.
All aboard! Come on, Daddy,
called Peppa.
Let's hurry.
Daddy Pig got into Santa's sleigh. "Ho, ho, ho," he cheered. Once everyone was settled safely on the ride, Miss Rabbit pressed a button. The carousel started to spin around and around, getting faster and faster. Peppa George, Mummy Pig, and Daddy Pig were lifted up higher and higher up into the air until suddenly they were flying.
Wow!
Whee! Cried Peppa and her magical Christmas unicorn.
Dinosaur! Roar!
Cried George on his special Christmas dinosaur. Daddy Pig's sleigh was close behind. His eyes were shut.
Open your eyes, Daddy,
said Peppa.
We're flying.
Daddy Pig opened one eye and looked down. Oh my goodness, we are flying! From up high, Peppa and George could see the houses below, decorated with Christmas lights, and the trees covered in snow.
Look, Daddy,
gasped Peppa, pointing.
it's our house.
Daddy Pig peered down, and his sleigh started to drop. Luckily, Peppa's unicorn helped the reindeer to pull the sleigh back up again. Phew, said Daddy Pig. Miss Rabbit pressed a button, and everyone flew back down to the ground.
Wasn't that amazing?
Cried Peppa.
We were flying, weren't we, Daddy?
It must be Christmas magic, replied Daddy Pig, a little dizzy from the ride. Now who wants to visit Santa? Asked Mummy Pig.
I do,
cheered Peppa and George, jumping up and down. Peppa told Santa all about her magical ride on the flying Christmas unicorn.
We even saw our house,
she cried.
Our Christmas tree was sparkling in the window. We collect decorations.
Your tree sounds wonderful, said Santa. I'd love to see. Ho, ho, ho!
You can, said Peppa, tonight.
Oh, yes, said Santa. Of course. I should probably get going, said Santa, chuckling. Ho, ho, ho! I've got a rather busy night of present delivering ahead of me.
Wow!
Yes,
said Peppa excitedly.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Merry Christmas, Peppa, said Santa. It was lovely talking to you. Time to head home, said Mummy Pig. It's a big day tomorrow. Back at home, Peppa and George got into their cosy Christmas pyjamas, put out yummy treats for Santa and his reindeer, and hung up their stockings.
Please, can we have a magical Christmas bedtime story now?
Asked Peppa. Daddy Pig told Peppa and George a magical Christmas bedtime story, and they soon fell fast asleep. On Christmas morning, Peppa and George raced downstairs to find that Santa had been. Peppa peeked into her stocking and pulled out a little sparkly box.
Wow!
Inside was a glittery golden Christmas unicorn tree decoration.
It's just like the one I rode on the carousel,
she gasped. Another lovely memory for the tree, said Mummy Pig. And now you have a decoration for that empty branch, said Daddy Pig. Santa is rather clever, isn't he?
I love you, Christmas unicorn,
whispered Peppa. Suddenly, the unicorn shone brightly and flew onto the tree branch.
Wow!
gasped Peppa.
Did you see that?
What? asked Mummy Pig. Everyone came to look. But the unicorn was as still as all the other decorations on the tree.
She was flying, said Peppa, but now she's stopped.
Must be Christmas magic, said Daddy Pig, winking.
Thank you, Santa, Peppa said. This is the most magical Christmas ever.
Peppa loves Christmas unicorns. Everyone loves Christmas unicorns. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppa's super noisy sound book. It is a very rainy day. Peppa and George are in their house. We are going to have a quiet day inside, says Mummy Pig. Aww, sighs Peppa and George, disappointed. Peppa and George love going outside to play. Ho ho. Cheer up, you two, smiles Daddy Pig. You can help me mend the kitchen cupboard.
Kitchen cupboards are boring,
says Peppa.
I don't like the rain.
Giggles George. Just then, the telephone rings. It's Mrs. Rabbit, Rebecca Rabbit's mummy. Can Rebecca and Richard come to play? She asks. Of course, says Mummy Pig. Yippee! Cheers Peppa. Rebecca and Richard Rabbit arrive. Richard has brought his brand new toy car. Vroom, vroom, squeaks Richard. And George has his toy, Mr. Dinosaur.
Dinosaur!
Growls George. Peppa and George get out their musical toys and make lots and lots of noise. Laughs Peppa, very proud of herself. Hooray! Cheer Richard and Rebecca. Now Susie Sheep has arrived and Mummy Pig has made lunch for everyone. Gobble gobble, delicious, everyone cries. Burp, burps Peppa.
Excuse me.
It's stopped raining, says Mummy Pig. Let's take the leftover bread and feed the ducks.
Squeak, squeak,
queers Rebecca Rabbit.
Shall we give them carrots?
Rebecca Rabbit likes carrots. I think the ducks would prefer bread, smiles Mummy Pig. Says George, jumping up and down. Peppa, George, says Mummy Pig, let Daddy put on your rain boots first. Yes, George, says Peppa. If you jump in muddy puddles, you must wear your boots. We're going to see the ducks. We're going to see the ducks, sings Peppa. George, Susie, Rebecca and Richard all join in very loudly. Ho ho, laughs Daddy Pig. What a lovely song, but you don't have to sing it quite so loudly.
Hello, Mrs. Duck,
cries Peppa, throwing some crumbs. I hope you're hungry. It's Richard Rabbit's first time feeding the ducks, and he's a bit scared. Don't be scared, Richard, says Peppa. They won't hurt you. Watch me. Peppa shows Richard how to feed the ducks.
Wah, 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 wah,
shouts Richard.
Dinosaur!
Shouts George.
Silly George, laughs Peppa. You always say dinosaur for everything.
Why don't you find some muddy puddles to jump in, says Mummy Pig. Yippee! Peppa shouts. Splish splash. Everyone is having a wonderful noisy time jumping and splashing. Here is Danny Dog and his mummy. Danny jumps in a great big puddle. Squelch! Oops! He splashed Daddy Pig's glasses.
Oh dear, says Peppa. Now Daddy will be grumpy.
I am not grumpy, snorts Daddy Pig. How about a nice quiet game of hide and seek, suggests Mummy Pig.
Yippee, shouts Peppa. I'm brilliant at seeking.
Everyone hides while Peppa covers her eyes and counts to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. George isn't very good at hiding. He stands by a tree with his eyes closed. Peppa thinks this is very funny and decides to surprise him. Very quietly, she creeps up behind him. Grunts Peppa loudly. Oh dear! George is very surprised and drops Mr. Dinosaur into a muddy puddle. George starts to cry. Peppa, have you been teasing George? Says Mummy Pig. Sorry, George, says Peppa. All the parents have come to collect the children. It is time to go home. Goodbye, everyone, cheers Peppa. Everybody waves goodbye. Ho ho, chuckles Daddy Pig. Peace at last. It's time for Peppa and George to go to bed. First, they brush their teeth. Scrub, scrub. Now let's have a nice, quiet bedtime story, says Mummy Pig. What shall we read? Asked Daddy Pig. Can we have one all about music? Peppa asks. I love music. Daddy Pig begins the bedtime story. It's about two very noisy piggies playing very noisy musical instruments. Peppa, George, and even Mr. Dinosaur join in all the actions. Roar, roar, growls George. Laughs Peppa. Peppa and George are a little bit sleepy. George starts to fall asleep first. That wasn't a very quiet day, giggles Peppa, yawning. No, it was a very noisy day, Peppa, replies Daddy Pig, smiling. But Peppa is already fast asleep. The end. Peppa Pig, Pirate Island.
I'm Peppa Pig. This is my little brother George, and this is the story of the day we went to Pirate Island.
Grandpa and Granny Pig took Peppa and her friends for a busy day out on Grandpa's boat. All aboard, said Grandpa Pig. Is everyone wearing their life jackets? Then off we go. George, you can have my pirate hat, said Grandpa Pig. Today we are sailing to Pirate Island, and if we are lucky, we might find buried treasure. Everyone was very excited. The boat landed on a sandy beach. Everyone climbed to the top of the island. Grandpa Pig planted a flag and said, "This is Pirate Island. Now let's look for buried treasure." Grandpa took a strange machine out of his bag. "What's that?" asked Susie Sheep. "It is a metal detector," said Grandpa Pig. "It finds buried treasure." He waved it over the ground and suddenly it started to beep. "Buried treasure!" cried Grandpa. "Let's dig it up." "Here's something," said Danny Dog. "It's a shiny coin. Maybe it's pirate treasure," said Grandpa. Everyone gathered round to look. Grandpa waved the metal detector over a new patch of sand and it beeped again. "This sounds very big," said Grandpa. Everyone dug and Grandpa pulled and pulled at the heavy object until suddenly it came free. "That's not buried treasure," said Grandpa Pig. "It's a rusty old shopping trolley." "Oh dear,"
laughed Granny Pig. Maybe that's enough treasure hunting. Who wants to go to the rocky beach? Everyone wanted to go to the rocky beach. I'll go and check on the boat, said Grandpa Pig. Granny Pig and the children went off, leaving Grandpa Pig to do important boat things. It was a warm and sunny day on the boat deck. Ah, this is nice, said Grandpa Pig. Maybe I'll just close my eyes for a little bit. Granny Pig showed the children the rocky beach. When the sea goes out, it leaves little pools of water in amongst the rocks, and every rock pool there's something special that the sea has left behind. Peppa looked in a pool. Ooh, I can see something glittering. It's a shiny coin. Maybe it's more pirate treasure, said Granny Pig. And here's a seashell, said Peppa. If you put a seashell to your ear, you can hear the sound of the sea, said Granny Pig. Peppa listened. Wow, I can hear the sea. George had found something hiding at the bottom of the pool. Why, it's a crab, said Granny Pig. Ouch! The crab has pinched Granny Pig's finger, said Peppa. Naughty Mr. Crab. Oh, look, Mr. Crab is walking sideways. George was walking sideways too, pretending to be a naughty pinching crab. Let's all be crabs, said Peppa. Everyone played at being naughty pinching crabs. Time to go home now, said Granny Pig. They all went back to the sandy beach. Where's the boat gone? Said Granny Pig. Look, said Peppa. There was the boat drifting out to sea, with Grandpa Pig fast asleep on the deck. We have to wake Grandpa Pig up, said Granny Pig. Shout as loudly as you can. Everybody shouted, but Grandpa Pig didn't wake up. He's too far away to hear us, said Granny Pig. We're stuck on Pirate Island forever, said Susie Sheep. We're castaways. We'll have to eat insects and slugs, said Danny Dog. The boat floated across the sea, with Grandpa Pig sleeping peacefully. It drifted all the way back to the shore, where the parents were waiting to collect the children. Hello, Grandpa Pig, said the parents. Grandpa Pig woke up with a start. Hello, everyone. I've just left something behind. I'll be back in a tick. And Grandpa Pig turned the boat round and set off for Pirate Island as fast as he could go. There's Grandpa Pig, cried Peppa. He's come to rescue us. Welcome aboard, me hearties, said Grandpa Pig, and everyone got back on the boat. Naughty Grandpa Pig, said Granny Pig. We thought you'd left us behind. Sorry about that, said Grandpa Pig. Next time I promise not to fall asleep. So we can visit Pirate Island again, Grandpa? Asked Peppa. Of course we can, Peppa. I love Pirate Island, said Peppa. What an exciting adventure we have all had today, laughed Granny Pig. Goodbye until next time, me hearties.
Peppa Pig. Beep, beep, broom. George's noisy vehicle book. Peppa and her family are going for a picnic in the countryside. Hooray! Cries Peppa. I love picnics. George loves picnics too. But he wants to stay at home and play with his toys. Cheer up, George. We'll have a lovely day, says Daddy Pig, beeping his horn. Beep, beep, giggles George. He likes her noisy red car. Off they drive down the hill. But what's that It's Mr. Zebra's post van.
Wow.
We're stuck in a traffic jam, says Mr. Zebra. Oh dear, says Daddy Pig. This isn't a good start.
Honk, honk.
Laughs George. At last they're on the move. But what's that noise? It's Mr. Bull's digger. Moo! You'll have to wait, bellows Mr. Bull. We're digging up the road. Not another delay, cries Mummy Pig. Dig, 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 laughs George. At last, Mr. Bull has finished and off they go.
Hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a fire engine.
Wow.
You'll have to wait while I put out the fire, shouts Mrs. Sheep.
Nina,
Cries George, bouncing up and down on the back seat. At last the fire is put out, and off they go.
hooray!
But what's that noise? It's a train. Daddy Pig has to stop while the train whizzes past.
Kiki,
Laughs George.
can we go home for our picnic?
Asks Peppa. What a good idea, says Mummy Pig. But George doesn't want to go home. He's loved seeing all the noisy vehicles.
Cheer up, George,
says Peppa.
you'll be able to play with all your noisy toys.
And he does. The end. Peppa Pig, babysitting. Mummy and Daddy Pig are going out for the evening. Granny and Grandpa Pig are babysitting Peppa and George.
Hooray! Granny Pig, Grandpa Pig,
Says Peppa happily.
Daddy Pig, Papa Pig.
George joins in. Good night, says Daddy Pig. Good night, says Mummy Pig. Now go to sleep quickly.
What little darlings,
says Granny Pig.
so well behaved.
Peppa yawns and Daddy Pig switches off the bedroom light. Mummy and Daddy Pig leave for their evening out. Inside the house, Grandpa and Granny sit down on the sofa. They share a tasty pizza.
This babysitting is easy,
says Grandpa Pig. In the bedroom, Peppa does not want to go to sleep.
George, are you awake?
She whispers. George grunts excitedly. Peppa laughs. She climbs down the bunk bed ladder and switches on the bedroom light. George picks up a spotted ball and bounces it to Peppa. She bounces it back. They both giggle. Soon there are toys all over the floor. It is so hard to go to sleep when playing is much more fun. Grandpa Pig and Granny Pig are watching TV. Peppa and George come downstairs to the living room.
George and I are not sleepy at all,
Says Peppa.
Can we watch TV with you?
I suppose watching a little TV might make you sleepy, says Granny Pig.
Hooray!
The TV show is about gardening,
This program is very boring,
says Peppa, yawning. She suggests playing a game instead.
Grandpa, can you throw us up and catch us?
Asks Peppa. Okay, but just one turn each, says Grandpa. Peppa laughs as Grandpa Pig throws her in the air, then catches her. You seem heavier than before, says Grandpa Pig. Now it is George's turn, says Grandpa Pig. George loves feeling like he's flying.
Hiya, hiya,
shouts George as Grandpa Pig starts to wheeze. Maybe Grandpa is a bit tired, says Granny Pig. Granny, let's play it, says Peppa. You're it. Peppa taps Granny Pig on the nose. Granny Pig chases Peppa, George and Grandpa Pig around the sofa. I'm going to catch you, she cries. Everyone runs and giggles. Later, Mummy and Daddy Pig arrive back home. I hope our little piggies are asleep, says Mummy Pig. Peppa, George, Grandpa Pig and Granny Pig are all snoring on the sofa. The little piggies are asleep, whispers Daddy Pig, and so are the big piggies. The end. Peppa Pig, Peppas Treehouse. Peppa and her family are visiting Granny and Grandpa Pig. I'm making you a tree house, says Grandpa Pig. I just need to finish the roof. Finished, says Grandpa Pig. And I've made some curtains for the window, says Granny Pig. Thank you, Grandpa, thank you, Granny, cries Peppa. Peppa and George love their treehouse. Oh, who wants to go inside first? Asked Grandpa Pig. Me, cry Peppa and George, jumping up and down. Peppa climbs up the ladder. Before I go inside the treehouse, I must take off my boots, she says. Peppa quickly kicks him off, and they land on the grass. Inside the treehouse, Peppa closes the door and pulls open the curtains. Wow! I'm in my treehouse, she shouts out of the window. George, do you want to go inside too? Asks Daddy Pig. George nods. Peppa and George hear a knock at the door. Do you have any room for visitors? Asks Mummy Pig. You have to say the secret words first. They are Daddy's big tummy, whispers Peppa. Mummy Pig says the words Daddy's big tummy and goes inside. I think we should have different secret words, says Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig tries to squeeze himself in, but he gets stuck. Your tummy is too big, says Peppa. Grandpa Pig has an idea. Daddy Pig can climb in through the top, he suggests. Wow! Grandpa Pig lifts off the roof and Daddy Pig climbs inside. Then he puts the roof back on. Hooray! Peppa and her family are all squashed inside. Everyone gets out apart from Peppa. Granny, I love our treehouse. I don't want to ever come out, she cries. Are you sure you don't want to visit me in my house? Asks Granny Pig. No, thank you, says Peppa. In that case, Grandpa Pig and I will have to eat these homemade cookies all by ourselves, says Granny Pig, heading back to her house. Cookies! Cries Peppa. She runs to Granny Pig, who has a plate of yummy cookies.
If you want some, you have to say the secret words, says Granny Pig. That's easy. Daddy's big tummy, cries Peppa. Granny gives Peppa a cookie. I still think those are very silly words, says Daddy Pig, taking a cookie too. The end.
Hi kids, did you have fun watching this video? Then like and subscribe for more.